Unfortunately, another mass shooting happened yesterday morning, in fact, and I would have covered it yesterday, but we didn't have all the facts, didn't really have too many specifics that were out there, and hopping on a tragedy, that's something for mass media to do. I just wanted more of the facts to start to roll in on this one before I did anything about it, and it has nothing to do with the fact that, oh, look, we got a white male shooter. Yeah, of course, it's going to, more than likely, mass shootings like this, unless they're on the south side of Chicago or in the inner cities of Detroit or any large city that's out there, chances are, it's going to be the white guy with the rifle, okay, or the quiet kid in a trench coat. That's just the lay of the land, man. But there are some interesting developments that we have seen since more information has come forward. But yeah, quite a large body toll on this one. As of right now, as of recording, 4 people have unfortunately passed away. 1 more is in critical condition, a rookie cop, and 9 other people were shot as well. Thankfully, he's dead, but yeah, man, that's a lot, okay? And this happened at a bank. Like, the way that the information was disseminated out there, there's a big shooting, okay, in Louisville, Kentucky, which is a blue city inside of a very red state. So that's one angle that you can take. But also this more or less harkens back to a former employee that was disgruntled, came back and had a vendetta to enact out at his former employer. Because, yeah, if this was going to be happening at a bank, everybody would think, okay, robbery gone wrong. No, normally, okay, you would just either brandish your weapon or you'd walk up to the teller, slip them a note. They're just trained to go, okay, here's all the cash, and then we'll deal with this later, hitting the silent alarm on the way out of the door. Like, bank robberies still happen fairly frequently, apparently. That's what I've heard. So that's what everybody was thinking until it was clarified that, yeah, he used to work there. Hence why there was so much unnecessary bloodshed. So what do we have right now? And first and foremost, I know it sounds contrived and big gay and all that stuff, but it does go without saying, thoughts and prayers with the family and everybody who's affected by this, because, man, it really does suck to see this stuff all the time. But until we get to the bottom of it, and, the left is going to have their talking points, we just need to ban guns, because if we get rid of all the guns, then nobody's going to die anymore. Fucking brainlets. But if we actually have a measured conversation about the underlying causes, maybe we could get to a solution. Oh, no, you just want to stand on the graves of children in order to push your gun control narrative, right? Because there's no other forms of violent crime that immediately result in life-altering injuries, right? Yeah, no, of course. Suspect in Louisville mass shooting is former bank employee, claimed to be self-deletional in his thinking, and he would shoot up the bank. All right. Sounds like nobody was clued in about him. Okay, the gunman in the Louisville bank shooting is reported to be a 25-year-old Connor Sturgeon. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure they could lift up the white sheet at the bank and confirm, but all right. An employee at the bank since 2018. According to his LinkedIn profile, which is also very interesting in and of itself, worked as an intern at the Old National Bank from May of 2018 to August of 2020, joining as a full-time employee in June of 2021. Police confirmed that at least 4 were killed, including 1 police officer at the bank in downtown Louisville, and the shooter was killed on the scene. Round of applause for the... I've also seen the time frame of how long everything took to unfold, and once again, shout out to the responding officers, because, hey, we had another one of those situations, but this is just a fallacy, right? You had a bad guy with a gun, and how was he apprehended? All right, he was shot between the eyes, so it was almost like a good guy with a gun stopped a bad guy with a gun, but that's just a fallacy. Here's another funny story. 100% of mass shooters are also stopped by guns. I know it's weird, either by their own or by law enforcement or by a citizen who was a good guy with a gun. Like, this is, it's so cut and dry, and it's almost like if you take the guns out of the situation, crazy people are going to continue to do crazy things, and good-natured and well-constitutioned people are going to act out their values and beliefs in order to defend the people that they care about. Wow. And yes, if all of the citizenry give up their firearms, if the left ultimately gets their chosen future, who's the only group that's going to have guns? Oh, the tyrannical side of things. The group of people that the founders wrote about specifically. You don't want a tyrannical government. But according to Joe Biden, there's no group that could just, overthrow the government with just your simple guns. We have nukes and fighter jets, right? Yeah, tell the Taliban that. Police confirmed that at least, 4 were killed. It's unclear if the shooter was killed by officers or if he took his own life. Well, hopefully he got the grunt sound effect from Halo and it was just like a big, confetti celebration at the end. That would be nice. They also said that 8 people had been injured, 2 of them in crucial condition, including another police officer. Sturgeon reportedly texted a friend prior to his shooting saying that he was feeling self-oofinal and would shoot up the bank. Yeah, okay, if you had the firearm and you were feeling a certain way, why didn't you just attach a tow trigger instead of, trying to take everybody else out? But in order to figure out this guy's thought process, I've got another article that we can go through as well, and it explains a bunch of other people's thought processes as well, so more on that very, very soon. Apparently stream the event on Instagram Live. Yo! Why don't we ban all of Mark Zuckerberg's platforms so that this extremism can't be held to, or rather it can't be broadcasted, just like the way that the Buffalo shooter filmed like he was playing a level on Doom on Twitch, bruh. The shooter's LinkedIn profile stated, that he has... that he is a syndications associate and portfolio banker with Old Dominion in Louisville, following completion of his ONB commercial banking development training program in April of 2022. And there's also something else that's very interesting about his LinkedIn profile. So yeah, he graduated from University of Alabama, which is, it's interesting. It's interesting as well. Okay. Madison Graduate School of Business, Louisville metropolitan area. Okay. And yeah, as you can see there, okay, so that's a screenshot, but recently we've been seeing quite a few LinkedIn screenshots. So the way that this was, yes, first reported, hence why I wanted to wait a little bit until more information came out. Then we have somebody else find a different screenshot on this, and we got pronouns in the bio. Don't know what that ultimately means at the end of the day, but the fact that they're there, it could also, it could say a lot, but it's interesting how the first screenshot goes out like this, and it's not like this guy's, this Nick Sotoro guy is a genuinely misleading or deceptive independent journalist, okay? It seems like he's on the up and up, fairly well accomplished, he's been on a whole host of different credible networks. Your mileage may vary, but he's been on a few different places, well respected, it would seem. So this just looks like maybe he was fed some bad information at the time, or maybe he was seeing some old coverage, because then there's another screenshot, or maybe this could be through a different device. Totally different. It doesn't, maybe has a add-on that blocks profile or pronouns in bio. That'd be very interesting. Okay. Yeah. A certified RMA lending decision work at Old National Bank. Okay, cool. So apparently he still work there. Maybe he's going to be losing his job or something like that. But yeah, no, it looks like the pronoun one is definitely legit, as it's been confirmed by somebody else as well. So that's what we can, I guess, glean from the LinkedIn profile. As for the rest of social media, I haven't seen anything else. And obviously, whenever something like this happens, like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, just immediately takes down those profiles. That's their standard operating procedure. So unlikely to really see anything like that, because I don't know who would have been, because I don't think he was really popping like that anybody would be archiving any of his old stuff, but don't know for sure. Shooting took place at Old National Bank on East Main Street near the Louisville Slugger Field and Waterfront Park. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear responded to the shooting by saying, "I have a very close friend that didn't make it that day. Yeah, that sucks. My AG campaign was out of that building. That's my bank." He seemed to have a pretty decent statement on everything, but of course the mayor of Louisville, who is a raging Democrat, said that we need gun control. Basically like the third thing that he said out of his mouth, other than this is a horrific tragedy. We don't need to see one anymore. We just need to take away all the guns. Brother, you're in Kentucky. That shit ain't gonna fucking happen right there. But we have more background. We have more background on who this Connor Sturgeon fellow was, and it really does explain his erratic behavior, okay? Not trying to explain away his decisions. It's like, bro, he's gone to the hell that he has chosen, and he will rot there for eternity, justifiably so, because he killed 4 people. May or may not be 5 in the very short term. Hopefully the Louisville surgeons are quite good at their job. But yes, the Louisville shooter, Connor Sturgeon, was a star athlete but suffered multiple concussions. We see this phenomenon happen all the time. CTE. Did I make it? I think that was yesterday's video, okay, where I made reference to some professional wrestling stuff. We see people's personality shift when they start to have a bunch of concussions. I've seen it with just, some former friends that were athletes, and the same time they just seem a little bit off. Either it's a blink rate or a lack thereof, or just their personality shifts a little bit. But the most prolific example is probably Antonio Brown. The wide receiver used to be with Pittsburgh, used to be with the Bucks, used to be with the Patriots. He started out as just being, one of the preeminent wide receivers in the entire league. Caught a couple more concussions on top of that, and then just started an amateur strip career, and nobody's signed him since. He's gotten into a couple of tussles with his baby mama and has been otherwise an abject menace across all of social media. This whole concussion situation is really fucked up, and like I said, it's not an excuse for his actions, but it's more information as to what the fuck is he thinking about. And again, if he's in this state of mind, I don't think a gun would have made any sort of a difference. A crazy dude, regardless of how he arrived at that, is still going to do some crazy shit. So, let's take a look. The man suspected of killing 4, injuring 9 at the Old National Bank in downtown Louisville, Kentucky, was a star athlete in high school who allegedly suffered from so many concussions he wore a helmet to basketball games. At basketball games, he's getting concussions like that. Yo, police identified the gunman as Connor Sturgeon, 23. Holy fuck, man. Okay. Probably had the brain. I'm sure after they do an autopsy or something like that, unless, of course, his finishing shot was, in fact, between the eyes, they'll be able to run an autopsy. And like I said about professional wrestling, okay, when Chris Benoit did what he did, they ran an autopsy on his brain and found out that he was packing an 83-year-old organ between his ears after all of the repeated concussions, which kind of led to his erratic behavior. Back when he was a freshman at Floyd Central High School in Floyd Knobs, Indiana. Okay, so he grew up in Indiana, did his schooling at the University of Alabama, and then moved to Kentucky. All right, then. Quite a strange trajectory, but if it works for you. As his father was the head of the team, a former classmate told Daily Beast, Sturgeon was known as Mr. Floyd Central, so an integral figure in high school scene. All right. Then he moved on to be a banker, but he kind of had a couple of screws loose. Kind of fucking sucks. But he is a murderer after all, so fuck this guy. However, the classmate, who asked to remain anonymous, noted Sturgeon oddly wore a helmet while playing basketball due to multiple concussions he suffered while playing football. Okay, that's very different, but I don't think that that's odd, man. Like, oh, shit, I can't quite remember, but there was the San Diego Padres pitcher. I can actually pull up a picture there. Yeah, I forget our guy right here. What the hell was his Padres reliever? Yeah, he was wearing that padded hat. This was from a few years ago at this point in time. Maybe we can get... Oh, Alex Torres, right? Yeah, okay, Alex Torres. He wore that because at the time, there were quite a few comebackers that were coming straight at the mound, and there were a few pitchers that ended up getting cracked skulls, and, it was serious shit, and, some people were taking swipes at him because, to be completely honest, that shit looks absolutely ridiculous. But it's legitimate, man. Okay, as a professional athlete, you have a very, very, very small period of time where you can make a ton of money. So if you want to wear a great big size 28 hat, you do you, pal. If you want to stuff a bunch of pillows in there, improve your fielding skills, and yeah, put on a helmet. So I don't necessarily think that that's terrible. And I've seen the picture of his helmet that he wore on the basketball courts. I guess I got a picture of it right here. Kind of got like a Dr. Doom gimmick going on there, but I wouldn't hold that against him. We played football together. Back to this anonymous report. In 8th grade, he was out most of the year because he had multiple concussions. Ooh, in 8th grade? Yo. Then he had a couple more in high school. Shit. And that's tough to say, man, because those multiple concussions, if they're in quick succession, even when you're, okay, so 8th grade, so when you're 14 and then in high school, okay. In that short period of time, like, you might have seen a couple of inklings of this stuff happening, but if there was anything that happened afterwards, or if this was just one of those lingering issues where if it went untreated and then it just started, a couple of things just didn't connect one day in his dome and away he goes. Photo of Sturgeon's junior year with the Floyd Central High School basketball team showed him wearing a helmet at the time when it has scored nearly half the team's points. Yo, so he was pretty talented. All right. Classmates said he couldn't help but think about Sturgeon's high school injuries and link them to other incidents where athletes have suffered concussions, have gone on to harm themselves or others. In recent years, doctors have made numerous links between football players and, yes, CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, a degenerative brain disease caused by repeated blows to the head. Yes, those diagnosed with CTE usually have impaired thinking, memory, and are prone to aggression, mood swings, depression, and paranoia. Exactly. Disgraced, Aaron Hernandez. Fucking Christ, man. Yeah, was convicted of murder. Did he actually pull the trigger? Because that's what a wild story that was. I remember when all that shit went down. Yeah, found to have CTE after he hung himself in 2017, and he was finally convicted. During his senior year, Sturgeon won the 2016 News and Tribune Sports Performance Yearly Award for Boys Track Athlete of the Year. After graduating high school, Sturgeon went to the University of Alabama to study finance, earning his Master's of Science in Finance in 2020. Smart cookie. Well, until he went on a shooting rampage, you fucking dork. While attending the university, Sturgeon worked in summer intern for Old National Bank. Yeah, we already went through that at this point in time. And yeah, his Instagram account where he filmed the shooting has been taken down. Screen grabs shared by local reporters show Sturgeon appearing unsteady in the hours leading up to the shooting. Yeah, something broke in his head. His alleged final post, which couldn't immediately be verified by the Post, included meme photos with the captions, "I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it, and I could burn this whole place down." Yeah, but tell me more, lefties, how the gun is the problem. His last post allegedly read, "They won't listen to the words or protest. Let's see if they hear this." Interesting. What do you mean by that? They won't listen to words or protests. Let's see if they hear this. Is he indoctrinated on university campuses? I'm just wondering, man. Again, I don't give a fuck about this kid. I just want to know these underlying causes and how this can actually constructively lead to any sort of prevention of shit like this happening in the future. Because I would much rather talk shit about how entitled stupid bitches are, okay? I would rather be doing that over talking about mass shootings that happen all the time, or just mass terror attacks in general. And it's funny, we know so much about this guy, but we don't have that manifesto that Audrey Hale apparently wrote. Interesting. Very interesting. Police are still working to determine a motive for the deadly shooting, where the 4 victims were identified as high-ranking members of Louisville's bank branch. Sturgeon had learned he was about to be fired from the bank, according to CNN. Okay, yeah, of course. So yeah, that fits my theory on this one, okay. Who said he also left a note for his parents and a friend explaining his intention to go and shoot up the bank. Among the victims were Tommy Elliott, 63, Joshua Barrick, 40, both senior vice presidents, Jim Tutt, 64, a market executive, and Juliana Farmer, 45, a commercial loan specialist. Yes, and of course, I know it's not going to sound sincere or anything like that, but thoughts and prayers with all of those families. And then, of course, yes, the 9 other people that were shot as well. It's very, very sad to see this stuff over and over again. But until we actually get to the bottom of this stuff, if we have those conversations on mental health like the left always claims to want to have, never going to get to the bottom of this. It's just constantly going to be the same old tired talking points over and over again. The guns are killing people. No, actually, no, guns are killing you. Just stop it. You're just blaming everything else. Nobody ever wants to actually have anything constructive about this. And if you just go about it in a reasonable and rational way, there would be solutions, but there's no money in that because there's no emotion in that. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.